Alright, now we'll take the second part of the chapter ratio, which is called proportionality. Alright. What is the meaning of proportionality? Proportionality means the relation between two given quantities given in terms of multiplication or division. Let's take an example. When we say that A is a quantity is directly proportional to B, what does it mean? It can be written as A directly proportional to B. This is the general way of presentation. If you're aware about it, great. If you're not, no problem at all. Let's see how. This implies that mathematically A can be written as a constant value K into B. That's it. So when we say A is directly proportional to B, you may not be required to write this or to be aware about it. You can directly go to this situation. Right? I repeat, A is directly proportional to B means A equal to a constant value into B, where A and B are the quantities and this K is called constant of that proportionality. Alright. A is called constant of that proportionality. Right? This also means that A by B is equal to constant. Okay. Now that means if there are two situations in which the values are, let's say, A1 and B1 and A2 and B2, then from here we can see that A1 upon B1 will be equal to A2 upon B2. Or this can also be implied that A1 upon A2 is equal to B1 upon B2. So all this are meanings of proportionality. While doing questions, we will require only this particular thing. Yeah, all these things I'm just trying to explain the meaning. Similarly, suppose we have that A is inversely proportional to B. Now what does this mean? Now this means A is inversely proportional to B. So it is written like this. We may not be required to write this. We can directly say that A is equal to, again, if you want to remove this sign, if you want to take a mathematical relation, you have to assume a constant, let's say K, into, now inversely means 1 by B, so it is 1 by B. So just read this statement and formulate this relation. From here you can also say that, again here K is the constant, K is constant of proportionality. Alright, so our questions will be solved from this only. But just that from here you can also see that A into B, the product of A and B is constant. This means that if there are two situations in which the values of A and B are A1 B1 and A2 B2, the relation will be written as A1 into B1 is equal to A2 into B2. Or from here you can also see that A1 upon A2 will be equal to B2 upon B1. Right? So once again the questions will be solved from this and this relation. Alright? Just try and understand that these are the different situations in which they can be applied. Alright? Let's take some more complex situations. Now one important thing that you need to understand here is that when we say A is directly proportional to B or A is inversely proportional to B, what we are trying to say that A is dependent on B. This is the mathematical relation of that dependence, right? Now here A is depending on only one quantity B. Similarly, A may depend on multiple quantities or more than one quantity. One quantity may depend on more than one quantity. For example, area of rectangle. Area of rectangle is dependent on both its length and breadth. So if it is length, this is breadth, and if this is a rectangle, then its area, we know that it is equal to L into B. That means area is proportional to length and it is also proportional to breadth, and it is directly proportional, right? We'll take some situations. Now suppose we have a situation where one quantity depends on more than one quantity. So let's say if I have A is a quantity is directly proportional to B, and it is also given that A is also directly proportional to C. So suppose in this case, how do we formulate the mathematical relation? Look at this carefully. The first sentence means A is directly proportional to B, that means A is proportional to B. And the second statement means A is proportional to C. Now how do we create a relation? Please understand that we will not have two relations, we will have one single relation, and it will be written as A equal to a constant K into all the quantities on which A is depending upon. So A is depending upon B, so it will come as a multiplication. A is depending upon C, it will come as a multiplication. So there will be one single relation which will represent the relation. Right? So it is A equal to K into B into C. Let's take another situation. Suppose we say that A is directly proportional to square of B and A is directly proportional to cube of C. Now what does this mean? Now this means A is directly proportional to B square and A is directly proportional to C cube. Please understand, it is the same quantity which is depending upon two other things. That means the mathematical relation, and first of all, you don't need to write this, okay? It is just for your extra information. If you don't want to write this, okay, great. You can directly go and write that A is equal to, A is proportional to things, so A is equal to, because it is proportional, so there will be a constant value, into. Here it is not B, it is square of B. So in whatever form B is given or B is asked to be taken, take it. So it is B square. Then further multiplication, cube of C, so C cube. So the relation becomes A is equal to K B square C cube. That's it. Right? Let's take a couple of more situations. Suppose we say that A is directly proportional to M and A is inversely proportional to P. Now in this case, the relation can be directly written as A equal to K into, now M is directly proportional, A is directly proportional to M, so M directly will come. But P, for P it is inversely proportional, so P will be written as 1 by P. So in one go you have the relation as K M upon P. Please try and understand that. Right? Let's take one last situation. If I have Q is inversely proportional to square of A and Q is inversely proportional to B. Now what happens? We can directly say that this Q quantity is equal to a constant K into. So this part is always the same in every relation, as you can see, right? So Q is equal to constant into. Now whatever quantities Q is depending upon, in whatever format, they will come directly there. So here it is inversely proportional to square of A. So once inversely will mean 1 by, and square of A would mean A square. And inversely proportional to B, so it is simply 1 by B. So final relation will be Q is equal to K upon A square B. Right? So this is, here I have just explained only how to create the mathematical relation between the quantities which are given to be proportional to each other, whether directly or inversely. If something is directly proportional, in the expression it will directly come as a multiplication. Right? And if it is inversely proportional, it will come as 1 by that thing. Right? So look at this very carefully and understand this. Now let's take up some questions on the basis of this theory.